Good afternoon, everybody. It is meteorologist Aiden Weather Forecast. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day, guys. This is going to be another update on the severe weather. You're probably wondering, didn't I already do a video on this earlier today? Yes, I did, but that was a video like before these storms started to intensify. And I have so much time today to do a second upload as when these storms are starting to really get bad. As you can tell, we have a lot more severe alerts and active alerts in effect for many areas stretching from the northeast of the plains. So I just thought maybe it would be a good idea to have another update for those people who didn't see the last update. They can have the most updated news, and I hope this helps. Alright, guys, so we're going to be taking a look at the active alerts now. So let me just go from maybe the west to east. So in this dark green, we have flood watches, and we have those in effect for parts of the Midwest to the plains, and then because we've had a ton of rain for many areas in these in the plains and the Midwest, and then in these light green colors we have flood warnings. So the area that has already had a lot of rain can experience a lot more. That's all the way in Kansas to parts of the Dakota area, South Dakota area, and then in this big line stretching from the Erie, Pennsylvania area to north of the St. Louis area, we do have, and it's not more of a pinkish and purple color and brown color together. We have severe thunderstorm watches, so that's stretching from Indianapolis through parts of Cleveland to parts of Springfield, Illinois, major cities, and then we have in north of the Pennsylvania area. We in this orange counties, we have severe thunderstorm warning, so that's where we have the worst of it. And then these yellow colors, in this yellow color, we do have tornado watches in effect for the Pennsylvania area. And I believe Insight Weather is in that tornado warning, or sorry, tornado watch. And then also into the New Jersey area. It's very close to the New York City area, so maybe some possible tornado watches can go in there. It's been a long time since I believe it's been a long time since they've been under a tornado watch. Alright, guys, so those were the active alerts. So let's take another look at the radar. It's changed a bit. The major things that change has been the Storm Prediction Center and the just basically the active alerts. It's not going to be a tremendous difference, as I just posted a couple hours ago. So in the next 3 hours, we're going to see these strong bands in effect for parts of the Ohio Valley. That's why we have these possible tornado watches for those areas in the Ohio Valley. Can really have some small but strong bands. Again, the size does not matter. It's what's in there with the multi-cell storms, or is it just going to be celled? And then we have some strong bands forming in the Nebraska area, and this is where we have these really good chances for flooding. Right here in these Nebraska areas in South Dakota, that's where we can have those good chances of flooding, as that rain's going to stay there for the next couple hours. And then as we go more into the next couple hours, more into the afternoon hours in the central time, we're going to have really strong bands forming into this Iowa area, south of Des Moines and north of the Jefferson City area. Really strong bands forming, and you can really see how detailed it is, how elevated these clouds are. And then look at the severe weather for parts of the Pennsylvania area, Pittsburgh. That's where we have these possibilities of severe weather. And then near the Cleveland area can have some more severe weather. And then again, the flooding threat does not stop in the South Dakota and Nebraska area. And then we have another band that's going to be forming behind this one, so we can actually have 2 to 3 major bands with heavy rain behind it. So again, we're going to have this high pressure system that's going to keep this not going to be severe, because the high pressure system is right there, and there's the low that's going to feed, the low pressure system is going to feed this, and the high pressure system is going to feed the light to moderate rain. No severe weather with high pressure systems. Most of us know that. Really, the high pressure systems are the ones that take it down. The low pressure systems are the ones that feed it. So that's why we're going to have a strong band here, but again, not going to be as strong as this one. North of the Springfield, Illinois area can actually really get some strong bands. And then again, we're going to let me do something else. So this is we're going to have the biggest band right here, without a doubt. The biggest band's right here for the next couple hours, and then we're going to have a small little band that's in front of this that can bring a really strong band to the Pittsburgh area, or the Toledo area, and the Ohio area. We can really have some intensifying storms without a doubt. Can bring, now what's different about this radar, it's actually going to bring a lot more severe weather closer to the Chicago area. Chicago might have a thunder or two. And then we're actually going to have some severe weather stick into the Missouri area, stay there a bit longer, and then have some more severe weather into the Des Moines area a bit longer. So just because you're not in this crazy amount of bands right here, it doesn't mean you're not going to have, because look, we're going to have a low pressure system stick around here, so that's going to feed these areas right here to stay like that. And then, of course, these are going to continue going on to the east, which can feed up, some more severe weather tomorrow. So, again, that's why it's going to have some severe weather in the northeast. And then near the Fort Wayne area or north central part of Indiana, really strong bands. Like, we're going to see something similar to last night. Last night near the Bern area and the Fort Wayne area really has some strong storms there. They had tornado warnings there last night. This can be very similar, except a bit more early. It's gonna be quite dark, but again, it's gonna be near the morning hours, and then a really strong storm staying into the Missouri area, and then again the possible flooding threat again for the South Dakota, Nebraska area, and then again it's gonna have this little band in effect for many areas in the Iowa. And that's really going to fall apart, which is kind of a relief for the Pittsburgh area and the Erie, Pennsylvania area. That's really not going to want that more rain. And then we're going to have a second band that's going to forming, and then we're going to have this more rain start to move into the east, which will then get into the Minnesota area and more to the Iowa area. And then that band will start to fall apart, and then we're going to have more severe weather. Let me just make sure. It is going to be Wednesday, so tomorrow we're going to have another storm that's going to, or more scattered bands that will bring to the Ohio Valley and Northeast area really strong bands. Again, guys, they may be small, but again, it doesn't take a huge band to bring severe weather. It's just what's inside of there. And then more severe weather, more to the Jefferson City area. So honestly, guys, the bullseye will probably be in this Ohio Valley. And by tomorrow, really strong bands in effect for parts of the West Virginia and Pittsburgh area. Look how many bands we have here. It's really going to be very complex with this low pressure system moving up into the north. It's really going to be very unorganized, guys. We're going to have up to 7 severe bands. Let's kind of count one. This will be the biggest one. You can really see these wall clouds there. 2 or 3, 4, 5, around 6 or 7 major bands with their other light rain showers that are going to be next week. So, guys, you may be like in one area, but you can get hit by multiple bands in the day tomorrow. And then as we go into the Thursday, that can bring some more severe weather into the Pittsburgh area and Pennsylvania area, and then some more rain threats. So it's going to be quite a messy week for parts of the Ohio Valley in the Northeast. Quite some rare severe weather that's going to continue most of the week, not just a couple hours in a day, but most of the week. Now, this one's going to be quite complicated, guys, in this northeast. So we have a high pressure system in the up on the west side of the storm, and then or the east side of the storm, and then we have a low pressure system that's going to be in the west part of the storm. So we're going to have this split into half. Again, the areas that are in the side of the low pressure system are going to get obviously the worst of the storm, and then near the high pressure system, you can see that it's a lot lighter rain. The high pressure system has the light to moderate rain, and then on the low pressure system side, that's where we have those multi-cell storms possible. But as we go on more, we're going to have that high pressure system move way out into the Atlantic Ocean, which will give more power to the low pressure system. I really hope I'm making more sense, guys. But this high pressure is going to move off to the Atlantic, and that low pressure system is going to stay there alone, which will really make these storms intensify. Again, these areas in the coastal areas will get the light moderate rain since it's not far off the coast, and then we'll have these multiple bands come in, especially near that Toledo, Ohio area. We'll really have these bands start to kind of come together, if that makes sense. And then these storms won't be anything to worry about. It's just going to be the flooding there. This is going to be the multiple band storm, which will start to go together, and then this New York City storm that will be just north of the New York City area. This is where we can have some multiple bands there forming right near that low pressure system. Can really bring in some strong bands. And then that can bring a following band that we saw here that's going to stretch from the Pittsburgh area to the Indianapolis area with some multiple bands that can have light to moderate rain. And then it's going to be tomorrow where we can have some more severe weather in the south central part of Pennsylvania. So really severe weather into the Pennsylvania and Ohio area. And then that can move in actually more tomorrow. We'll have the more severe weather into the West Virginia area, and then near the Pittsburgh area again can have some more severe weather. You can really see we're gonna have some wall clouds forming right here. So it looks like tomorrow can be. I'm not gonna say guaranteed tomorrow's gonna be the worst day, but it could have some stronger and bigger bands. And then we're gonna have these 2 low pressure systems right here, right up into the north that will really bring in some more bands into the New England area, some strong bands there as we go into later tomorrow. And then as we go into Wednesday, on Wednesday we can have quite some severe weather on Wednesday, guys. So it's gonna be most of the week. And then last but not least, I want to take a look into the South Central now that can have severe weather tomorrow. I'm going to skip through all of today, guys, because, again, you guys already saw this on the planes radar. But right here tomorrow, as we go to the evening hours, or sorry, in the midday tomorrow, really strong bands with this really powerful low pressure. So you can just see the size of it. Going to bring some really strong storms to the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, all the way through the Wichita Falls, Texas area. Can have really strong bands, and that's not gonna stop as this low pressure system gets even bigger and powerful, which will have strong bands forming from the southern part of Oklahoma to the southern part of Missouri, and then that can fall apart a bit into two pieces or two bands. We have the weakest side with that into the coastal areas, and then a bit some stronger bands, but again not going to be as severe as we saw, or as we're going to see earlier that day. And then it's going to bring that severe weather into the northeast, and then we won't have anything to worry about into the north or into the south except some small little bands after that. But tomorrow we're just going to have those strong bands forming for parts of South Central. So we're going to take a look at the day one outlook. It did change a lot more. So we saw that we had a lot of Iowa in that moderate risk. That's not there anymore. It's more into the most southern part of Iowa, honestly. Maybe a mile from the border of Missouri is where we have it. And then it's going to go a bit more to the western part of Illinois, because it was like all the way to out here, I believe. I think this was the original size, I believe. And then it got a bit smaller and it's quite dangerous. You're probably thinking, wouldn't it be more dangerous if we have it a bit bigger? Well, it kind of not, because the smaller it is, that means the more compact it is, the storm. You can see we have 2 layers just in the small little area. So that means you really have to keep even a closer eye, because let's say, since it's so close, let's say this is maybe a 20-mile diameter from the moderate to the slight. Let's say you're in the slight chance, and then next thing you know, you're in the enhanced, and then next thing you know, you're in the moderate. So that's why it's something to really keep a close eye on. But like if you're like very out here, no, you don't have something, but you might want to keep an eye if you're right on this border right here, because the closer it is, the more an eye you got to keep on, because that means you're very close to the next layer, which is next to the next layer and all that. You know what I mean? Alright, so we're going to take a look at the marginal risk. We're going to have a population of 36 million now, a bit less than we saw earlier. It was about 44 million. So like we're seeing now, it really did compact into a smaller space now that the day is coming. Now that the storms are forming closer and closer, as I did it in the morning. Now it's the late afternoon, so a lot of the storms are starting to produce now. So we're going to have Chicago, Dallas, Indianapolis, Columbus, and Fort Worth. Not many cities in South Central, and then we're going to have a slight chance in the major areas, to that northeast area and to that plains and Midwest area. And they're all going to connect right here. This is where these storms are going to connect, right in this some kind of square. So we're going to have New York City, Baltimore, Cleveland. So that's what we have in the northeast. And then we're going to have Omaha and St. Louis in the plains area. So that's a population 36 or 35 million in that slight. And then the enhanced risk, we do have a population 22 million, quite a big population. That's where we're gonna have the tornado watches in these areas in enhanced risk. That's what it's something to watch out for. And then right here, where you have these strong bands forming. So we have 2 areas we need to look out for: the northeast and the plains. So we're gonna have Philadelphia, which is in Pittsburgh. That's gonna be an enhanced risk. Usually don't see Pittsburgh there. And then we're gonna have Oklahoma City and Tulsa and Wichita, which have had a lot of experience in that area. And then in that moderate risk. Now this is the moderate risk where we have the biggest chance today. This is basically, think about it as the bullseye. The area we really need to watch out for. We have a population about, if you round it, 3 million people. And we're going to have Kansas City, Missouri, Overland Park, Kansas, Kansas City, Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, and then Kansas City, and then Olathe, Kansas, I believe. And then we did say that there could be possible tornadoes in each of these little areas, and the enhanced risk, the moderate. So this is tomorrow. So the reason why I showed the South Central is because you guys were going to see this and wonder what happened there, what's going to happen there. So I might as well put that radar in there. And then again, we're going to see it connect, these 2 storms connect right here and right here, because if you're thinking, wow, they're not even storms gonna be that big. But the thing is, we're gonna have these strong bands forming that south central area with that low pressure system right here. And then let me get that out of the way for a second. All right, so we have the low pressure system, and then these storms are gonna move up to the northeast with this rare low pressure pattern that's gonna keep this ridge right here, which will prevent it from coming to the southeast. But usually, if it was a real regular pattern, we'll see these storms going to the southeast, but not the occasion. So in the marginal risk, we have a population of 50 million people, a very big population since it's going, if you think about it, coast to coast, if you think Atlantic to kind of most likely to the Gulf. But we have New York City, Chicago, San Antonio, Austin, Oklahoma City. You see, you have a lot more cities in there in the South Central. And then we have a slight chance with the population, about 39 million people. Oh, it's got to reload. All right, so then Philadelphia, Indianapolis, Columbus, Tulsa, and St. Louis. So we had those around the same areas that were in the slight. And then in the population of the enhanced 22 million. Again, we do not have a moderate risk because these bands in the South Central really do fall apart very fast in these two areas that we saw. And they go from Dallas, Fort Worth, and then all the way to Baltimore, to Washington, D.C., and then Arlington. So that's where we can see the enhanced risk tomorrow. So we're going to take a look at the reports we've had today. So, good thing is no tornado reports today so far. But guys, I'll be honest with you. I really don't want to scare anybody, but there's a 100% chance this is all going to change. I'm guessing maybe 15 to 18 tornado reports today. That's what I'm going to guess, and I'm going to draw a circle. I really hope this doesn't scare anyone. I'm going to draw a circle where I think these tornadoes will be. Let me try to do my best. Let me try to put it right. I'm going to make my circle right here, stretching from these areas that I think can have the possible tornadoes right here. It could be totally different, but we have so far 12 reports. We've had 11 hail reports, and these are all where these storms are starting to form, if you saw on the radar. So these all storms are going to move right here into this big area. So these storms are just getting started, so that's why I wanted to upload. And then we had a one wind report, and this is all these reports. These 12 reports are in the areas that are just getting started. So guys, it's quite something we need to watch out for. And then again, not only severe weather threat, but a flooding threat. And then we're going to have this stretch all the way to the northeast, to the Midwest, stretching to the plains, all the way to South Central. So it's covering a lot of ground. We're going to start in this area right here in the Oklahoma area to the Dallas area. Can actually get at most 4 inches or 4.5 inches in this little dot right here, in this little very dark red dot in that northern tip of Arkansas. And then we have a good amount of flooding chances in the central Nebraska area that can get up to 2 to 2.5 inches of rain, which isn't bad for that area. And then very good amount of rain for the Kansas City area, which can actually get up to 4.5 inches to 5 inches. And then we have quite a good amount of rain. That's the most in the northeast. We're going to have the most amount into the Pittsburgh area that can get up to 2.5 to 3.5 inches, so an inch range. And then we're going to have a good amount of rain that Boston or the New England area that can get up to 1.5 to 2 inches. So that's what we can have based on the total precip in the next couple of days, stretching all the way to Saturday. All right. So again, we're now going to take a look at the. We're going to be taking a look at the Cape now, because again, not only is it just the radar, the active alerts, the Cape does change too. So we're going to take a look at 5 p.m. We're going to have really strong Cape numbers. Or really high, really high numbers in that Wichita area, about 5,000. That's going to be stretching all the way to the western part of Oklahoma City. We're going to have the same pattern. It's going to have a little area. This is where it's going to start to connect in this little narrow, about a 15 mile radius right there, I would say. That's going to stretch all the way into the part of the Mid-Atlantic. We're very high numbers into the Washington, D.C. area, and then to the Delaware area. Almost all of Delaware would be above 3,000. Again, we're going to have not only severe weather in the plains, but in the northeast and mid-Atlantic. And then we go later in today at 11 p.m. It's going to start to compact in one little area, like the Storm Prediction Center's categorical outlook. And then we're going to have some very high 3,000 to the the central part of Kansas. And then let's go to tomorrow now, where tomorrow we have these strong bands moving into the northeast. So we're going to have very high numbers. It's going to be very similar to what we saw earlier today. The strongest or the highest amount of numbers will be in the southern tip of Iowa, the northern tip of Missouri, and the most western part of that, just north of the St. Louis area. We're going to have 4,800 and 5,000 into the southern tip of Iowa, northern tip of Missouri, and then same amount of numbers into the Illinois area, and then we're going to have quite some lower numbers, still going to be quite high. We're going to have some very high 3,000s, but not going to be as high as those 5,000s there up north. And then 8 p.m. tomorrow, we're going to have some 4,000s, very high 4,000s, and maybe just getting to the 5,100 mark into the parts of southern Indiana and parts of the actually Missouri area, and then parts of the St. Louis area. That's where we're going to have some very high numbers, stretching all the way to the Louisville area. We're going to have up to 4,800 into the border of Indiana and Illinois, and then by tomorrow at night, it starts to all calm down. So guys, hope you guys enjoyed this update on the severe weather. I hope you guys have a better understanding now that I posted 2 uploads on one specific storm. So hope you guys do have a better idea on what the pattern's going to happen, what to expect in the next couple of days this week, the Northeast, the Plains, and the South Central. So guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate that, and see you guys in the next video.